Hello everybody and welcome back to the Leeds Lens. We gave it absolutely everything today. We gave it everything. And we always talk about on this channel, and we'll continue to talk about it, if you are going to lose games, and obviously Leeds United have lost today, and it's a disappointing result, you've got to lose in a certain way. You've got to lose in a certain way. You've got to lose and feel like you're giving everything out on the pitch. Yes, there's been problems. Yes, we've made mistakes today. Yes, at times for me, some of Daniel Farke's decision-making in terms of the tweak at the end, I don't think quite worked. But it's all about how do you perform in a game? How do you get on with a game? How would you fight? And if you are going to lose, as I said, you've got to lose in a certain way. And Leeds lost. Even though we lost, and that feels horrible to say, we lost in the right way. We lost in the right way. We lost giving it everything. We lost fighting for every ball. We lost with Spurs on the back foot, defending headers for the lives at the end, with Peru having a snapshot at the end, nearly grabbing an equaliser, which I think could have been deserved. But I think overall, Spurs just edged it on the quality. And to be honest, I do need to apologise slightly, because when I watched that game, I thought in terms of actual playing style and in terms of performance levels, we matched Spurs. I think the difference came in the quality, if I'm being honest. And we haven't had this season so far, and I thought we'd have seen this more. The quality of the team for me has been at such a high level every single game. But I think today we won because of individual moments and individual brilliance. You look at the likes of Kudus for them, who obviously scored a great goal. You look at the likes of Xavi Simons as well. I thought he looked to step above everybody on the pitch at times, if I'm being honest. And we just didn't really, as much as we weren't awful, we just never fully had an answer, I didn't feel, for them to. And in the end, and obviously it paid dividends in the end, their extra quality won it for them in the end. That's the truth of what happened. I don't think that we were awful in the game. I don't come off the game really frustrated. After the Fulham game, so frustrated. Last week, so frustrated. Today, we gave it absolutely everything. I didn't think we made loads of errors. We didn't have we had probably the lack of quality in the final third to get a result out of the game. We maybe made mistakes in a few moments, which I think we did. I thought they transitioned on us really well at times. But overall, it wasn't an awful performance. It wasn't an awful performance. And I will. This is the phrase of this game. If you're going to lose, that is how you lose, Leeds United. You don't lose by throwing the towel in and getting hammered. And we didn't today. We gave it everything. And you saw, and the end of the game, Spurs will come out of it knowing they've played a game. And I was talking to my dad last night, actually, about Leeds United. And he's been away on holiday. And he hasn't been able to catch the games, unfortunately for him. And I said to him yesterday, I said, Spurs might beat us tomorrow, Dad. There's every chance that Spurs do beat us tomorrow. But if they win, they'll know they've been in a game. They'll know they've been in a game. And they'll know that Elland Road is a tricky place to come. And anyone watching that today will look at it and think, even the commentators were saying it at full time, Elland Road will be a fortress. It will be a tricky place to come. And anyone that goes out there and gets a result, which I don't think will happen too many times, will come out and know they've sort of either got away with one, or they've battled through thick and thin and swallowed wave after wave of Leeds United attack and not get it off line. But I do want to talk about a few things in the game, because there is a few things that are frustrating me at this moment in time. And I talked about before the game, but I think I want to talk about a bit more now we're in the game. I still don't understand Brendan Aronson on the right wing. I don't get that. If someone can sort of say it, what Brendan Aronson gives us, then I'd be really interested to know. Because for me, I don't understand Brendan Aronson on the right wing. I really don't get it. I don't think he offers us anything in terms of going forward at all. I think he's almost complacent. And what he does do as well, he's so weak. And I thought Udogie bullied him at times on that left-hand side. And I just don't think he allows us to get playing in the game. And every time he gets the ball, he holds on it too long. He just shouldn't be allowed. It shouldn't be in a Premier League outfit, in my opinion. He's just not good enough. He's just not good enough to play in a team at this level, in my opinion. And I know Jack Harrison didn't do loads when he came on, but obviously he got moved to left wing back at times, and we changed system, which I'll obviously talk about later in the video, the tweak. But he just doesn't offer enough. He doesn't offer enough in creativity. He holds onto the ball too long. He's not physical enough. Yes, he runs around a bit, but I do think you start a Nonto, which hopefully will have him for the international break. You start a potentially Dan James on the right-hand side. You even start a Jack Harrison for me on the right-hand side. Like I said in my preview, I think you get a better output from the guy on the right-hand side. I really think you do. Look at Leeds United right now. If you're an opposition manager looking at this Leeds United team at this moment in time, and you're going, where are their threats? You're saying the threats are Noah Okafor on the left-hand side. You look at what Noah Okafor gives us on the left in comparison to what Brendan Aronson gives us on the right. They are night and day. It's completely different. One is completely neutralised, in my opinion, every single game and holds onto the ball too long. One is a powerful, scored today, but also his all-round game. I thought Noah Okafor, and I don't want to be someone who every time they score, it's always that their all-round game is really good as well. But didn't people not see that the threat Okafor offered us in the first half? I thought in terms of an attacking threat, it was the best in the team, in my opinion. And the other person I want to talk about and do a sort of big, or not a segment about in the show, is Anton Stack. I'm not sure at this moment in time what fully he's giving us. And if he wasn't, I don't think he's playing awfully, and I don't think he's costing us loads. But I even look at the sort of pass that he did that obviously led to the free kick, that Kudus did an awful free kick, obviously straight into the hands of Carl Darlow. And it's just not at the level at the moment in time. He just feels a yard off it. I wrote down my notes. He just feels a yard off it. It's not like he's not awful, but I look at Longstaff and where he's so busy and he's sort of constantly intercepting and getting shots away and creating stuff. And I look at sort of what Stat gives us, and all right, yeah, he might do it in a better way, and he might look quite sort of clever when he passes the ball, and he might be technically that level above. But in terms of what you get from Sean Longstaff and what you get from Stack, it's night and day at this moment in time, in my opinion. Which I didn't think I would be saying going into the season, if I'm being totally honest. And I look at what the tweaks I'd like to do for the next game against Burnley, and I would like to see potentially Nonto, hopefully, if he's back fit on that right-hand side. And I would bring Stack out this team at the moment in time. He just feels a yard off it. He doesn't feel like... I feel like the rest of the midfield get up to the speed of the Premier League. And I don't feel like Stack's doing that, in my opinion. I don't think he's awful. And as I said, it's not a... I just look at Tanaka and what he brings us and the way he can pick up the ball. And like you saw later on in the game, he picks up the ball and drives through the midfield, almost like we used to see from Joe Rothwell last season. And that looks so much better, and he looks so much more complete as a midfielder for a profile we need. Like we've sort of gone there. We've got Longstaff, of course, who is combative, battles hard, everywhere around the pitch, busy, strong. He's a physical presence in there, doesn't let us get dominated. Then we've got Ampadu, who again is a similar profile, more sort of structured, doesn't go darting around, sticks to his position, disciplined, but also decent on the ball, but hard in a tackle, dominant, doesn't let us get sort of bullied in there. But then we've got Tanaka, who for me, or we've got Stack at this moment in time in there, who like, I'm not sure fully what his thing is. And then I look at sort of Tanaka, and I think that just suits us more in there. And I think when he came on in the game, I think we saw something more from Ayo Tanaka in there than we did with Stack in the whole time, in my opinion. Like, as I said, there's one movement in the second half which summed it up. He picks up the ball and he runs straight through the middle. Easy said, Pro should start every game. DCL has never been a prolific, but missed 7 gilt-edged chances this season. I always said Farke is out of his depth. It's just a matter of time before the 49ers act. Completely disagree with that. I don't. We will talk about Daniel Farke because he does make for me an error in this game. He does make an error, quite a huge error, I think, on about the 75th minute, which we will talk about easy. So I don't think Daniel Farke is faultless in this game. But from what you said at the start of the season, what we've talked about in terms of Leeds being too defensive and Leeds United not being on the front foot enough, I don't think we saw that at all today. It was almost more... It was end-to-end. It was almost like a Bielsa game back in the day today, I felt. I didn't think it was a really negative performance from Leeds. I didn't think it was a game where we didn't create enough chances. And it was like, when we lost the Fulham game, and all right, it was late on in the game, but it was like we didn't give it our all. We did give it our all, but in the way we were playing, it was so negative. We didn't allow ourselves to express ourselves. I didn't see that today, in my opinion. I really didn't see that. I thought today I thought we were on the front foot. I thought we were the ones pushing the game, especially after we scored in the first half. We could have easily gone and scored again. We had a number of decent chances. And I know DCL will get flack for missing chances today. And again, he's missed chances. We win the ball high up in the first half. He skies it over the bar. And there were another chance as well, wasn't there? That one in the second half that he has a shot saved by Vicario. So I do get what you mean, Easy, in terms of he's not been unbelievably prolific. But I think his all-round game is so good. And also, by the way, while I'm talking about this, I need to get this in the show today. Because I am not one to criticise referees. I actually was a referee myself. I still do the odd refereeing game now and then. The referee was awful today. He was awful. He was absolutely awful. And I'll tell you why he was awful. He's so whistle happy. He's unbelievable. Everything was a foul constantly, and it completely limited what Leeds United were trying to do, in my opinion. Because a lot of the time, as we know, for Leeds United to get out, we go long to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He wins a 50-50 battle against their centre-half, and then it goes into midfield and we try to pick up second balls and we play off Calvert-Lewin, a normal approach. We couldn't do that today. The referee did not allow us to play that way because every time the ball went up to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he just blew for a foul instantaneously. He was so whistle-happy. It was unbelievable. It was a poor performance. And I don't think he was brilliant in terms of the whole game. Like, he let Longstaff stay on the pitch. Like, I'm not on about it just in a Leeds United setting. He let Longstaff stay on the pitch when he should have gone off. I think Ampadu's was neck and neck for a red, if I'm being honest. In the Premier League, that is. But I just thought he never let the game flow, ever. It was constant foul. It was playing, in terms of the fouling, it was just playing into Spurs' thing. It wasn't as bad in the second half, but really frustrating. I mean, during the first half, during the first half, Okafor gets down the line, gets pushed over by Kudus, doesn't get a foul. And then about 5 minutes later, Stack wins the ball off Van der Ven, does literally nothing, and he blows up for a foul. And I'm just like, where is the consistency? Where is the consistency? It's so frustrating because we're a team naturally that rely on a lot of duels. We naturally have loads of duels, and we need the referee to not be whistle happy. And it completely killed momentum for us. And it slowed down the game, and it played into Spurs' hands. He was doing Spurs a favour with just constantly blowing up for fouls. It was so frustrating. I haven't been that angry at a referee at halftime in a long time. I don't really get angry at the ref because, as I said, being a referee, I know how hard it is. But what you don't do, the first thing as a referee that you do not do, is just, you've got to keep the game flowing. You blow up unless it's if it's a definite foul. But this is a contact sport. We've got to understand that. There are going to be duels. Not every single bit of contact is a foul. And today he completely got that wrong, the referee. It was like a Premier League game from a few years ago where they got the balance wrong. And who's in charge of the PGMOL? Howard Webb came out, didn't he, and said that we're not, the tolerance of what a foul will be will now go up because we're giving too many fouls. He fell back into that style, did the referee. He was poor today. He was poor. But yeah, let's talk about Daniel Farke in this game, because actually I thought the approach was really good. We are conceding chances in transition. That is 100%. And Spurs in the first half, not only this Matheus Tel goal, which I think was a bit unlucky to be fair, but they were creating chances in transition. There's no doubt about it. I mean, they hit the bar, but they had loads of they had a number of chances in transition that they didn't quite make the most of. What I will say is, though, if you are going to play aggressive attacking football, you are going to give up chances. That is what's going to happen. The more attacking you go, the more chances you are going to give up. That is how it works. Because naturally, if Goodmanson and Bogle put a push further forward, naturally that is what happens. And like the first goal comes because Matheus Tel goes into a sort of where the left back would be, who's naturally higher because we're trying to attack. They win the ball in the midfield, goes forward, and he has a deflected shot that flies into the back of the net. So that is what's going to happen. If you want more attacking football, which I do, and I think the chat, from what I've seen from the chat, for most of us, we want more attacking football. We are going to give up more moments in defence because naturally, Bull can't be a defensive right back and an attacking right back at the same time. He's either high and playing in an attacking position, or he's low and he's playing in a defensive position. You can't have it both ways. So I understand losing games on transition and losing games. I actually didn't think Bogle and Goodmanson were the best today. I thought Goodmanson was probably one of our worst performances, and I think it was probably his worst game in a Leeds shirt today. But we'll get on to obviously in each individual player in a minute in the player ratings. But what I want to talk about with Daniel Farke is, on about the 75th minute of the game, in my opinion, Daniel Farke made a change, as we all know. He put Ampadu at centre-back, he put Strauch and then Roden as your three centre-backs. Then he put Bogle right wing-back, he put Harrison left wing-back, he put Nemecha and DCL up front, and he put Pro in the number 10 role with like Longstaff and Tanaka just in behind. That's how we went. And I sort of understood the rationale in terms of, at that moment in time, we're putting a lot of balls into the box, get another man up front, get Perot for the knockdowns, which almost happened late in the end when Perot had a shot, and sort of we can create chaos in terms of with Nemecha and DCL up front. But what did Thomas Frank do instantaneously? Where they went to three at the back then, he brought Danso on. So instead of having Nemecha and DCL up against Romero and Van der Ven, they had an extra centre-back again. And Danso came on and headed a load of balls away. And again, when we talked about Thomas Frank and how adaptable he is, bringing Danso on for Odebear on about the 80th minute after he'd seen that we'd gone two up front was a moment of genius. And they sort of saw the game out from that moment in time. Anyway, let's get into Easy's comments. I wouldn't criticise any of our players. They don't do tactics or select the team. It's no use selecting players that can't score. I have said it 1,000 times. We have Pro, a natural goal scorer. Yeah, but it's not just in terms of finishing. It's what DCL gives us. Like, Pro can't run the channels like DCL can. He also can't win headers and hold the ball up. Like, you can go on about Pro's shot at the end, which I'm sure you will, Easy. The Pro shot at the end even comes because DCL holds the ball up, nods it down perfectly, and then we have a chance to score from Pro. But it's DCL wins that. Pro, do you know that ball that goes long? That DCL nods down for Pro. Does Pro do that? No, he doesn't. And that is why, in my opinion, that Pro doesn't play. He won't play for the rest of the season. He'll come on in games like that, will Pro, to try and influence it at the end and try and nick a goal. He won't start games. We were lucky to still be in the game at half-time. That is when Farke should have changed things, but he didn't. See, I disagree. See, this is what I was going to say when we went to the 5-back system. It didn't work for me. It just didn't work. We actually, before that, for me, were gaining momentum in the game. And I actually turned around to Bill and said, I think we're going to get an equaliser here. And then about 2 minutes after that, he changed it. I thought we were actually, with the midfield three that we were playing of Tanaka, Longstaff, and Ampadu in there, we were starting to create problems. We had Okafor down the left-hand side doing quite well. We had Bogle and sort of Harris on the right-hand side, not doing as much, but there was still, Bogle was getting crosses in, some of them terribly overhit. But we were creating chances. And I didn't think we needed to. At that point in the game, for me, I know why he did it, because he wanted to go 2 up front, and balls were going into the box, and you think, throw another big man on up front, someone might drop for us. And if it does drop, it might drop for Pro, like we saw at the end. But I think it killed our momentum. I really do. I don't think that tactic worked, in my opinion. That was my opinion. Scott, we're not playing second football because we're not putting goal-scoring players on the pitch. I know you like Perot, but I'm telling you, I promise you, Perot up front, look at the Arsenal game. It doesn't work, mate. Honestly, it doesn't work. He doesn't, until Perot can win 50-50 duels against centre-backs, when the ball goes long, he won't play. And he'll never do that because that isn't his game. So it isn't going to happen. I must admit, though, I know we've talked about Leeds United and the problems, but Spurs, I probably underestimated. I said that they don't have a load of individual quality. I was wrong. I look at Xavi Simons, and he played like a flick pass over the top a few times. And the guy is honestly a level above. He really is, Xavi Simons, in my opinion. He looks so good. I thought Kudus had Goodmanson on toast on the left hand side. I thought they were strong. I thought they were strong. I thought them individuals especially were really good. Also, though, Spurs are quite dirty, by the way. Like the amount of times in that first half, especially they left tackles on us is ridiculous. I didn't think they were that sort of team, but there we are. But it was probably a good result. But as I said, they know they've come out playing a game there. They know they've been in a game against this Leeds United team because we did not make it easy for them, and that's what I'll call for. We are going to lose games this year, 100%. Every Leeds fan knows we're going to lose football matches. It's about how we lose, and we lost in the right way today. Obviously, we need to start picking up results. Of course we do. But we did lose in the right way, and the best teams lose playing well. That is how the best team lose. Where it's like they've lost in the right way. That's how the best teams play. The best teams lose. Like if you are, as I said, you'd never want to lose a game. But if you are going to lose, that was the way to do it. Anyway, should we get into player ratings? This is obviously the team that started, as you can see on my side there. Let's start with Darlow in goal. 2 goals. I think there is a shout potentially for the first goal. Maybe he could have saved it. I don't know. I don't think Darlow's been as good in the last 2 games, if I'm being totally honest. And I do think I would bring Perry back in now for the Burnley game, in my opinion. We've spent £18 million or whatever it was on a goalkeeper who's played in Europa League, has played decent performances in France for years now. I would put Perry back in. Maybe his kicking's not as good, and I think Darlow's kicking has been better than Perry's, but I'm not as confident on him as I potentially once was. Although I will say the goal that goes in from Matthias Tell, it's quite a similar goal to the goal that obviously the goal that Saka scored. I feel sad now. Lost a fiver. All my accas for Leeds to win. Yeah, that's a shame, mate. That's a shame. As I said though, surely if you were at the game, or even if you weren't watching it, I'm sure you understood that like we did give it everything in that game. I really felt that we did. And I thought we were quite unlucky to come out without a point, to be honest. I really did think that. Anyway, Spurs are no good. I don't see them finishing the top 10. We played crap today. Absolute crap. Farke is to blame. I just disagree. I just don't agree with any of that. I think Spurs are pretty good. I expect them to be in the top 6. And I thought Farke, except making them tweaks, which he tried on the 75th minute. And by the way, I like him trying stuff. I don't want him to just, like for like sometimes be boring. You've got to try stuff in games, but it didn't work. I'd trade all 4 of our keepers for Donnarumma. I'm not going to read that other bit, but okay, fair enough. Anyway, yeah, let's get on to player rating. So yeah, Darlow wasn't outstanding, I don't think, today. I'd probably give him a 5. I wonder if he could do more on that first one because his hand's not miles off it. I know it takes a wicked deflection and it's frustrating because he saves it without the deflection, of course. And it was a bit lucky on Spurs' behalf, and I'm sure they'll be willing to admit that. But it flew into the back of net and fair play. And yeah, I don't know if Darlow could have done a bit better there. On the second goal as well, I know what he's trying to do because he's got to... basically, when you're in that position, when someone's driving in, the goalkeeper expects that if the ball goes one side, that Strout's going to block it, because naturally Strout's coming across to block the ball. So he's got to watch the far corner one, the sort of the whip to the far corner, and it just goes under Strout's leg and fires into the back of the net. But when you saw Strout being so frustrated, it's because Strout should get lower with that tackle to block that ball so it doesn't go underneath him. So that was a failure. But Darlow has to go to the far corner for that whip to the far corner shot that you expect, and he obviously just drills it in the near post. So yeah, Easy's obsessed with Perot. I know he did well for us last year, mate, but as I said, he ain't going to win 50 duels, so that's what it is. Anyway, Bogle, not his greatest game for Leeds today, in my opinion. I thought it was better in the first half. In the second half, he frustrated me at times because he had a number of chances to whip crosses in, and he just completely butchered the crosses so many times. And he didn't just give us a chance. Like, sometimes you can hit a short one like he did in the first half, which was good. And obviously the goal comes because DCL knocks it into Aronson, who has a deflected shot, and it ends up in the back of the net from Okafor. So that can happen. And sort of, if the underhit crosses, that can work at times. But overhitting crosses is an absolute bugbear of mine when you've got DCL in the box. It's such a bugbear. And if I'm Bogle and I'm Goodmanson, the amount of positions they get into where they're just in that position where you can swing it across, like we saw for the goal, that position there where Bogle crossed it from there, he has to be on the training pitch every single day and do 1,000 of them crosses constantly from that position, cross it into the box, cross it into the box, cross it into the box. And I would say the exact same with Goodmanson at left back. When you get into that position, like where the goal came from with Bogle, practice in training, doing 1,000 crosses a day of that ball. Over and over again. I've heard Gary Neville talk about this, where his crossing was poor and he got into positions where he would be on the training pitch and practice day after day after day after day, and you will get better at him, because when you're in that position, that is a good with who we've got up front, that is a good opportunity to score a goal. And Bogle and Goodmanson both have to practice consistently. I think Goodmanson's crossing is better actually, but practice from them positions, from them wide positions, like where the goal was from, the Bogle the crossing, just cross from there. Honestly, thousands of times a day. You've got time in training. That's what you need to do. That is what they should be doing, because they were just poor from that in that position, in my opinion. I didn't think actually Bogle was awful defensively. I thought he was definitely the better of the two fullbacks comfortably. I don't think he struggled defensively massively. I just think Bogle's game, part of his game is attacking wise. Obviously, he had that shot in the second half, which he completely scuffed as well, and he should have laid it out wide. I don't think it was the best game from Jayden Bogle. He wasn't awful, but I don't think it was his best game. So for me, I'd actually probably give him a 5 today. I don't think he was brilliant. Joe Rodon should have scored a goal. That was a really good chance in the first half, in my opinion. The keeper completely made a mess of it, Vicario. He had an open goal, just head it into the goal, Rodon, and he just gets it slightly wrong. I don't think defensively did anything wrong. I don't think either of the goals were his fault. And he was a threat in the box and on the far end. I'd probably give him a 7. I think he was okay today, Joe Rodon. I thought he had a good game. I think he was a bit unlucky to be on the losing team, if I'm being honest. Pascal Strout, again, I don't think he was awful today. I thought he was better actually today than he was against Bournemouth. What he should have done though, he's part responsible for that second goal. Obviously, the main responsible person we'll talk about in a minute, but he's partly responsible because when he's going across to block that ball, he's got to make sure he blocks it, because obviously Darlow's going to naturally go to the far post. He's got to make sure that ball doesn't go underneath him, and it did, and that was a mistake. So he'd have to get knocked down for that, but I don't think he was awful. I'd probably give him a standard 6. Goodmanson, worst game in a Leeds shirt today. Yeah, he was bad. One thing I've not seen from Goodmanson so far is that he never gives the ball away. Today, he gave the ball away constantly. And obviously, he makes a critical error as well, as we know, for that second goal for Spurs. Loses his duel against Kudus. And I thought he'd lost a few duels. I didn't think that was the only duel he lost all day. I thought Kudus had him, to be honest. I thought he completely had his number. He's a good player, Kudus, and I understand that. But if we're judging on Premier League level here, and these are what Premier League wingers look like. And he was good today, Kudus. I thought he was probably their best player on the day. But he lost his battle today, and he was poor. I'd have to give him a 4. I thought he had a bad game. I thought he was comfortably our worst player today, in my opinion, Goodmanson. For me, in terms of, and he cost us a goal as well. But I thought his all-round game just wasn't. He didn't offer the attacking threat that he usually does. It was a bad performance from Goodmanson. That's how it was. He's been a brilliant sign. He's our best player, but it's not great. He wasn't great today. Ethan Ampadu. Wasn't awful. I thought, but he wasn't a supreme Ampadu performance. I thought it was okay. He stopped us getting bullied in there. Tactically disciplined at times. I don't think he was awful. A few passes in the second half, especially when we're chasing the game, overhit or underhit or misplaced. But he wasn't awful. I'd probably give him a standard 6. Stack. I think he should come out for the next game, like we talked about. I think Tanaka should come in. I don't think it was his best game for me. I'd probably give him a 5. I thought Tanaka was good when he came on. I thought Tanaka was good. I'd actually give him a 6. I thought he added something when he came on, maybe even a 7. I thought he was good. Then we talk about, of course, Longstaff. Again, I thought he was the best. I thought he was decent in the midfield again. Not as good as he was against Bournemouth. I thought he was really good against Bournemouth, actually. I don't think he was as good today, in my opinion. But he still offered a lot. Obviously, he had a few chances. Like he had that shot in the first half that goes flying over the bar. He had a shot in the second half. He also took a stupid volley as well. He had a number of chances today. And I think he'd be disappointed that he hadn't hit the target with any of them, if I'm being honest. But I don't think he was awful. And he's busy and he creates problems for the opposition. He was winning the ball. He was tackling hard, as we know, and we get from Longstaff, and he was getting us moving. I thought he deserved to come stay on the game, and I thought it was right to sub Stack at that moment in time. I thought he was fine. So I'd probably give him. I think Longstaff was okay. I'd probably give him a 6. Okafor, I think, was our best player today. I think Okafor was our best player. I know he scored, which obviously could up his rating, but he was a tap-in anyway. But it's his reaction time with that goal that's obviously important. But I thought he was our best player. I thought he was a real threat in the first half, especially. I thought he faded slightly in the second half, but I thought he had. I thought he had Porro's day all day on that left-hand side, constantly winning fouls for us, constantly a threat on the left-hand side, and he was actually using his physical strength today to hold defenders off and roll them. I thought he played well. He looked like a seriously good winger, in my opinion, in that first half, especially. He looked like a real threat. Like if he was on the left-hand side for Spurs, so they had Kudus on the right, for example, obviously Simmons in the middle, and Odegaard on the left. Like he was better than Odegaard was for Spurs. He looked more like a Spurs level player than he did sort of Odegaard, in my opinion. I thought he had a really good game. Deserved his goal as well. He was our best attacking threat in the first half for me. Aronson, I think he was okay for Aronson levels. Now, this is not about, like, when I talk about, Goodmanson's a 4, and then people go, well, how is Goodmanson way worse than Aronson today? It's because I expect more from Goodmanson because he's a better player. So for him, that's a 4 out of 10 performance. But Aronson, that is a standard Aronson performance, so it's probably a 6. Even though he wasn't brilliant, that is what Aronson is. It wasn't a bad Aronson performance, in my opinion, at all. I thought it was okay, in my opinion. I thought he did all right. So Aronson, for me, for Aronson's level, he's probably a 6. Although, as I said, when Nonto hopefully is back after the international break, he instantly starts on the right-hand side for me, instantaneously. He offers more. I think he's better on the ball. He's miles better on the ball. His decision-making on the ball is miles better. He's stronger. Nonto definitely needs to start on the right-hand side. It's critical at this point that he starts for me. And then, of course, this is where me and Easy completely disagree, and I'm seeing you in the comments still. DCL. He has got to start finishing his chances, Annie, because where Easy can agree is that he's missing too many chances at this moment in time. He is. Like, he has a good chance in the first half, skies it. Good chance in the second half, keeper saves it. But where me and Easy completely disagree is his all-round game, for me, he's still really strong. He's such a threat. He's such a presence. He holds the ball up. He brings people into play. He wins his battles. And the only reason he didn't win loads of battles for me in the first half was because the referee was awful and giving fouls for everything. It wasn't his fault. He's not doing anything wrong. He's challenging, and he's sort of... and he's been sort of punished for that. I didn't understand that at all. It was poor refereeing. But as I said, he's a real threat. And as I said, the chance comes right at the end from a nothing ball in. And he holds it up and brings someone into play for the shot. So I really think that... I think DCL should carry on starting, in my opinion. I disagree with the comments. I think he should carry on starting. I think he offers a huge presence up front, but there's no doubt he has to start being his chances. We can't we can accept this for all right. Bournemouth have missed a few chances. Today's missed a few chances. We can't be having this conversation every single week. And if you listen to what Everton fans said about DCL, they said he's fantastic in the air, works his socks off, does a lot, brings a lot of people into play, but he misses chances on the deck. That's what they said. And that is what we're seeing from DCL at this moment in time. I think in the first half I think he takes too long. I think he thinks he's got longer than he has. And he actually, Bentancur gets back in just as he's about to shoot, which puts him off. But he should take his shot earlier. And I think the second half chance was a good chance as well. If that goes in either corner, he scores. He's got to start scoring his chances. But if he scores today, it's an 8 out of 10 performance. I thought his all-round game was that good. So I think he's a 6. Yeah, Paul says, agree, Scott. DCL is our best striker by a mile. I completely agree. Look what Nemetra offers when he comes on. DCL is our best striker by an absolute mile. And when he had his first chance in the first half, in my opinion, And when he had the injury in the first half, not his first chance, the injury in the first half, I was so worried, Paul. I was honestly so worried because if he's injured, I think we lose so much. He's honestly, as I said, I completely agree with Paul. He's our best striker by a landslide. He's miles better than everything else we've got, in my opinion. So yeah, I thought he was. It's a mixed performance, isn't it? Truthfully, I'd probably give him a 6. But he's got. I can agree with the understanding that he's got to start taking his chances. He had 3 good wins against Bournemouth, 2 today. In his last 5 chances, he should be scoring a goal out of them, at least 1, probably 2. So yeah, that's where I'm at with him. But we will lose a lot if DCL's not playing up front, because the first thing with DCL, if DCL isn't up front, when Darlow plays the ball long and we open up the game by DCL winning the header and bringing people into play, that will not happen if we've got Pro up front. So he won't pick Pro anyway. He'll carry on with DCL. I'm certain of it. But yeah, that's my feeling on it. Really. Also, DCL offers stuff defensively as well. Like, I know you don't pick strikers on how good they are defensively, but he is good at heading out balls from the box as well, in my opinion. So yeah, that is the preview. Daniel Farke. Farke's a tricky one. I'd probably give him a 5.5. Not slightly underperformance because he made that change to take us 5 at the back and it didn't work. I understood why he did it. I understood the rationale, but it didn't work. So he'd probably get a 5.5. I don't think he was awful today. And as I said, if you want teams that are sort of, what I'm saying with Daniel Farke is, we are going to lose games this season, as we all know. And it's how you lose games. And we can't continue to lose playing well. But that hasn't happened yet. So my opinion is with Daniel Farke is, I think if you have anyone in charge, we could lose games like against Spurs. I think any manager, you can lose games like we lost today against Spurs, 100%. So I don't think we'd have got a huge upward performance with a different manager, in my opinion. So he'd have to get, but slightly underperformance because we didn't get anything from the game. So I'd give him a 5.5. I don't think he did awful. I understood the team he selected. I thought we were better in the first half than they were. I just think we just didn't quite have enough in the end. Yeah, but then that's what I just said about Daniel Farke sums up the game, doesn't it? We pushed, we tried, we gave it a lot, but in the end we just came up slightly short, and that's going to happen. That is going to happen at times. But yeah, moving on to the international break now. Shame we don't have a Leeds United performance next week. But we're going to 2 big games now. We've got Burnley away. We've got West Ham at home. The 2 big games, we've got to get some serious points in them games. But let's see how they get on anyway. I'm sure there'll be lots of discourse and discussion to come. So I hope you've all enjoyed today's show. And I will see you all tomorrow at 8 p.m. And we'll discuss this in more.